Welcome all of you risk takers and truth seekers to the Mario Q&A to success. I got recently a question about education, and that question was very, very straightforward. The person I know for many, many years asked me, what's my highest level of education? And when I answered what it is, he was shocked. He wasn't expecting that answer. And I can understand why he didn't expect it from me to say that I'm finishing what I'm finishing. I'm not here to impress you with my education. The today Q&A, it is about education, and is it education important or not for success in business? In my previous episodes, you can check there in my playlist section, Mario Q&As to success. What is success? You must agree with me that we are all have a different definition of success, and we are all seeing success in different way and different shapes and forms. Nobody's success is equally same. Not mine, not yours. So success, it's up to you to decide what it is. But do we need a education to be successful in business? Well, I think that you all already know the answer on that question. However, I just want to be perfectly clear about this. When I started my business, my highest level of education in 2009 was a high school, plus other things I was doing in my life. But that was my highest education. High school certificate, correct. And I take my further education in a later age of my life. Let's just say in last 5 years. I'm 50 years old now, so you can imagine. And I was taking recently the last exams for my master's. That being said, education is not important for many entrepreneurs to be successful in what they're doing. You must understand one simple thing, that every individual and their path is different. My path is different, your path is different. When I started my business in 2009, investigative firm, I opened my investigative firm. I knew how to do investigations, but I didn't know how to run the business. So I was learning on my mistakes, which they are really, really costly, really costly. First of all, because I align myself with the wrong people, believing they know what they're talking about. They sell themselves very high, and I pay the price of that failure knowing these people. So I correct myself with the people without questioning their integrity, credibility, and authority. That's the number one what you need to look into with the people. Secondly, when I started my business, as I said, it was a high school certificate, but I did have the life and working experience for almost 20 years by that stage in investigative intelligence sector. So I knew how to do investigations, but I didn't know how to run the business. And if I was going to school, I had more school than just high school certificate, I will understand that things are not so simple. Because I didn't know accounting, I didn't know the laws and legislations in this country, because I come in this country as a guest, and I decided to stay after 5 years spending in working in embassy of my country, where I'm coming from. That being said, education was not necessary for me to perform on operational level. An operational level it's a bridge between tactical and strategic level. But so I knew how to do investigations, but nothing else. So I need to understand more how the business function, how to do better marketing. It was a very painful road. So let's go agree about this one. For you to be successful in what you're doing on operational level, no, you don't need to have a school. You don't need to have a school. That's the reason why many personal trainers talk about their successes, how they're successful they are, and list goes on. Because they know environment. I'll just take an example for fitness experts. They know the environment, they know the topic, they know how to create exercises, they learn this. They know environment, they know how the fitness functioning, how the customer service functioning, and the list goes on. That's a different, and their part, it's unique and different than my one or your one. So when I say you don't need education, no, you don't need education in terms that you be good on operational level. That means that you're utilizing your life and working experience to deliver results. However, business is not just what we do towards our customers, providing either services or giving the products or selling the products, goods or products, however you want. That's a very important thing you need to understand. Come back, I'll rephrase again two things. Success, it's everybody unique. Nobody's success, it's equally same. So you define what your success it is. Secondly, you don't need education if you want to perform the best in what you're doing and you know the best, because every individual part is different by your one. However, business does require education, and everybody who says this, it's opposite of that, it is really somebody who is, I will say, funny. And I'll share this with you why. When I was in back my home, then Yugoslavia, and unfortunately I wasn't the guy who escaped the communism. I lived in communism because I couldn't escape the communism, either my parents, but the difference is I fought against communism and 1991 for independence of my country in Croatia. So that's be clear. So in communism, schools were not different than in capitalist system. They were maybe cheaper. They're all the state schools and we all look same, but we didn't actually have the same future. There was a pupils in my class who were excelling every possible results, every possible credibility was being exceeded. They have authority because they were A-grade students, and I was down bottom. I never liked very much school, and I found it's boring because I can do much more things outside of the school, like fighting, stealing, stabbing people, name it. And I done this very well. I was associating myself with all the kids, let's call the kids, 2-3 years older than me, who were in my class. So they failed their classes the year 2 or 3 times. So the guys who were 15 years old were me in a classroom. I was 12 years old. And that was like literally unbelievable. And then society actually decided to label you in a way that if you are associating yourself with these guys, you're a failure. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what your grades are. You're a failure. And I did, a lot of things which I can label myself not as a failure, but the person who wanted a life on different way. Let's go say I was a little petty thief, and my career in that ended up at age 14 when I was sent in juvenile because of things I did. I'm not proud. If I knew it, I'll do differently. But what I did I remember that every time when I walk in a classroom, I was looking who can give me the homework so I can take a homework from them, putting, scope, like with my eyes and put in my workbook and give the teacher. And I tell you the embarrassment. This is what most entrepreneurs will not say, that you need education. Because as I say, they're defining their own success. They're successful in what they're doing. And of course, they're going to preach to you that you don't need education. I was being called by the teacher in front of this classroom. And the teacher said, Mario, this is great results. You put it a lot of effort, which I did. I really love mathematics. Even I wasn't putting much effort, but I understood mathematics and physics very well. And anyway, long story short, he asked me to divide in front of the class 2 by 3. And I was writing 2 divided by 3, and I said, no, that's not possible. He said, Mario, don't joke with me, divide. And long story short, I look like a very stupid in front of the class because he failed me, and I need to go in the summer school to correct my grades so I can continue my further education. Of course, you can divide 2 by 3. But you know what I missed? I missed understanding how things functioning beyond my logic, because I was doing mathematics on my logic, not by the knowledge, I wasn't in class when he said drop the 0, so it's a 20 divided by 0, 0.6666. That was the result, 2 by 3. Anyway, I realized very early that I need education, but I was already lacking 8 years of primary school. Interesting enough, I finished my high school and the war broke out and I went in a war. Not because just I wanted and I understood fighting evil with the good and communism, democracy. I fought the war because simply my parents abandoned me, and I believe that the best thing I can do is fighting for the democracy. So I went in a war. Then I realized that school is good because military starts sending me more and more trainings, more academies, more centers across the globe to learn the skills in leadership, in special forces, tactics, methodologies, and list goes on. And I was very young, don't forget, I went in the war when I was 18 years old. Long story short, why the education was important? I realized this later on in my life when I started my business here in Australia. Speaking the language which is not mine, even today, I still have that accent. Consider myself immigrant. Even I come on diplomatic visa. But I'm immigrant. And after 22 years in Australia, I still don't speak English as most of people. And I'm accepting this. I'm never going to be one of people born in this beautiful country, like my son. But when I started my business, I realized that I needed some knowledge. I need some skills. Why? Because I need credibility. Because I want to be innovative. And I want to prove myself that I'm worthy of this society. Now, recently, you all witnessed something called the ChatGPT, and I got the letter from the chancellor from my university saying to me, dear candidate, blah, blah, blah. Please note, this is the list, of the AI softwares being used extremely a lot by the many students. However, you're a candidate for such a thing. We're strongly suggesting not to use none of those things. And I said to myself, why I should not use, ChatGPT? Everybody's using. I'll tell you why. Because you can punch in ChatGPT any query you like, any questions you like. It can write to you whatever you want. It's great. You have another dozen of AI softwares which gonna make it already written essay or whatever you want, a thesis, even better. A more creative way, more formal way, you can pick and choose. But one thing you can't fool, once when you start your business and you start BSing people, how you have no education, how you don't need education, how you're successful and everything else, you will be tested. And how are you going to be tested? It's very simple. If you're using any software or using somebody to write things for you, you don't need to use a software, AI software, but somebody to write for you. What I learned in university, your opinion is irrelevant. You know why? Because if you want results in a life, you need to do something that's called argument, a counter argument, and you need to support your statement with a fact. So opinion, it's a one thing. In military, opinion is irrelevant. I'm telling you this from my personal experience. Opinion, yeah, we can argue about things and we can develop some plan, but I remember every time before the action, during the action, after the action, my commanding officer, the brigadier general or the colonel, they will there asking me how many wounded, how many prisoners we have, how many ammunition we have, how much food we have, how many dry socks we have, how many enemies on this position, what weapons they have, this one. That's not opinion. You need to support with the facts. So that's in military. Goes now in a business. You think you can go just somewhere and say to somebody, my opinion is this and this and this and this. Yes, you can do this with your employees, with your peers. But when you start doing the business, when you start doing the public preaching and public speaking and just your opinion, be sure to be prepared that some academic will tear you apart. There's some people who spend a tremendous amount of time lecturing us. Now, there's plenty of professors you met, I met, and everything else. They are academics. They learn the art of the topic they presenting, they're teaching you. That's a daily bread. They're not there to impress you on university, on high school, and colleges. They're there to give you that basic knowledge. That's what it is. Knowledge. Because once when you have the education, you have the knowledge. That's a number one. what you gotta when going to school. The knowledge. Because once when you start doing that, your opinions, somebody's gonna stand next to you. It doesn't matter, I guarantee you, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how successful you are, they will tear you apart. Never happened to me. Do you know why? Because I keep my mouth shut. Because I realize that I can't throw just opinions, because my client wants results. That's the knowledge you get. So once when you finish your high school or your college or university, you get the knowledge. The times when people said, Bill Gates has this invention, college or high school dropout, whatever he was calling these ones. Yeah, that's all beautiful. That is all beautiful. You know what I mean? But he hired a very smart people to work for him. And he needed to gain that reputation on different ways. And you can learn this by reading about him. So Bill Gates, he dropped out from the high school in 70s. And yes, he started Microsoft. He has an idea, a revolutionary idea, innovation. But did he have the credibility? No, really. He get that credibility later. So education gives you the knowledge. Knowledge, access to the all knowledge you can gather about your topic, about, just name it, art, the science, philosophy, just name it. Skills. Why is important education? Because you gain the skills. Not just the skills that you're talking the best and doing in what you are, but the skills which are going to be related and necessary to support what you're doing right now. Let's go back time 20 years back, maybe, or 30 years time back. There was many occupations there on a market which don't exist today. And today they make redundant, not necessary, and people don't care they exist or not. Credibility is the next thing. Once when you have education, you have credibility. Because once when you have that credibility, it's not that you have a certificate behind your back, but you gain vocabulary, the presentation skills. You gain the something what you didn't have it before. And that it is that you can stand in front of people and talk about topics and nobody will question, because they know that through your education you collected that experience. And most importantly, when you go on networking events, do you just talking like, oh, my name is such and such, this is my business and I'm the successful guy. Yeah, that works in environment you want to work. But if you want to excel in your business, you need credibility. Credibility doesn't come only through your hard work. That people already know. They already know you built something. They already know that you work in something. But credibility it is that your knowledge and skills are being meshed together and called credibility. Last but not least, education gives you something called new horizons. Like Star Trek, new horizons in space. Well, same goes in a business. Once when you start your education and you have the education already in your pockets, you'll be able to innovate more about things you're already doing now. And don't forget one thing, I said this in my previous videos, you can check how to stay on the top. Everybody wants to be into 1% successful people across the globe. It's a very, very narrow space on the top and people are pushing each other. And what do you think how they stay on top? Innovation is one thing, and the skills or knowledge or credibility, because they come with a new product, with a new way of running the business. And most importantly, we don't know everything. We need to educate ourselves every day. So education, yes, it is important. And as I stated at the beginning, I wish that I went in school, I attended school, because I cannot say I'm proud for avoiding the school. Particularly primary school, when you're learning the basic things, which you're gonna need in your life. And you can write the books, you can be the public speaker, you can be greatest things, whatever you are, me and anybody else. But I guarantee you, world is changing with the speed of light. And if we are not there, up to date with our knowledge, with our education, with our skills, credibility, somebody else is going to take our spot, because the world is changing. And there's a lot of the wise kids very smart kids who are going in schools, they're pushing universities, they're hungry for the knowledge. And as I say, yes, you can apply the shortcuts. There is plenty of AI softwares there. But don't forget one thing. There's some people there who are really sitting and reading the books, studying day and night. And those kids, when they look for the jobs, they're going at the top. And those at the top, the CEOs of one of the largest banks, largest corporations, with 2 universities in their pocket, with a work experience, what do you think was the common conversation going to be? Around the art I never attended, or around some other problems? Or you can impress them with your hard work. Yes, you can, but conversation must exist. Thank you for watching. Let me know, what do you think? Is education important or not to be successful in life? Not just be successful, but to stay on the top. Feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Thank you.